Hey everyone, Kabi here. Just wanted to talk about this game called Krunker. So I was on Faceit a couple months back because, as you guys know, I'm a professional NACS player, and I noticed a promotion for a game called Krunker. This isn't the first time I played Krunker. Actually, years ago, I used to play this game because of a situation I had. Essentially, I had a very bad laptop that could not run shit. So I was looking at browser games to play, and I played a lot of Survivio and things like that, but I saw Krunker, and Krunker is amazing because, first of all, it's a 3D shooter that runs in a browser. That is very rare. I don't think there's many that exist. There used to be Unity games using Unity web player that you could play on your browser, like Contract Wars and things like that, but I don't think those were really around 3 or 4 years ago. So when I played Krunker, I was like, wow, this is actually pretty crazy. And back then, also, just as an ego booster, the kids playing back then were also not very good. I mean, the player base was just very young, which makes sense. It's a lot of kids who couldn't afford real games on Steam, and they were playing this FPS on a browser that was free. You know, connect the dots, right? A lot of the player base is going to be young, not very good. So pardon my French, but I was shitting on these kids, which I only really realized, like, back then I was just jumping around like a dumbass and using the shotgun and just blowing people in the face. It was
Pause. There's such good sound.
blowing people
Yeah, I see that.
in
Did it give you
the
good advice?
face.
It gets bigger when I pull.
Really broken back then. And I think my KD was like 2 point something, or like maybe 1.9 or something, like some close to 2. I'm not trying to flex or anything. I think pretty much anybody with a working brainstem could probably do that back then, but I was down bad for a good shooter game, okay? And it did scratch the itch for, I don't know, a month or so, and then I quit. Anyways, I saw it on Faceit, as I was saying, and I decided I wanted to try it because it looks like they're really trying to market Krunker as this competitive game. And I was like, wow, that sounds interesting. And I also wanted to get the free Faceit points that it gives you for playing a certain amount of competitive games. So that's what I ended up doing. And I'm just going to talk about my experience trying to play Krunker as an esport. First of all, the movement meta is actually really complex, right? You have players that are really good. Like this player, if they're on your team, will win the game. And the rest are pretty much all the same, like generic players who can do all right. And then there's some really bad people, right? The problem is that the skill gap between really skilled players and, you know, the average player is massive. And the problem is that the player pool is so small that you're going to end up getting into games with the same people over and over again. For example, this guy that you see getting 20 kill streaks, yeah, he was in every game I played, all 5 of them in a row, because despite being miles above the competition, he still has to queue with us because there's just not enough players to have a ranked queue that worked. And this is my experience a couple months ago. I don't know whether it's the same now, but yeah, I was trying to just get those points. So I didn't really care if I won or lost, but it's pretty funny because every time the guy was on my team, we win, and every time he's on the other team, we lose. It doesn't really make sense to have a ranking system if every rank, if there's 10 players total and you have 10 ranks. I guess you can give every player their own rank, but I don't know, it just was funny to me. Anyways, the other thing I want to get to is the problem of cheating, and I noticed this a lot. I don't think there were any cheaters necessarily in the Faceit games that I played, but on the browser version I just tried recently, just playing casual games, and there are a lot of cheaters. And how do I know they're cheaters? How do I know I'm not just bad? It's because the game has them flagged as cheaters. You can go to their profile and it says that they're cheaters on their profile, and somehow they can still play the game. I don't get that at all.
Naked cowboys in the showers at Ram Ranch. Big herd throbbing cocks wanted to be sucked. 18 naked cowboys wanted to be fucked. Cowboys in the showers at Ram Ranch on their knees wanted to suck cowboy cocks. Ram Ranch.
Fucking
really
player 3.
rocked.
Fuck this fucking guy. Wow.
Hot herd.
Why am I playing with this guy? He's a fucking hacker. Why is he allowed to play? He just played. But it kind of makes sense considering that you can just have cheats by running JavaScript. That's the problem with the game that runs in the browser. If you have JavaScript like Tamper Monkey scripts, you can just get cheats. It's very simple. This is talking about the browser experience, by the way. I just get a lot of lag and people just moving around weirdly, like, you know, teleporting from place to place. And I don't know, that just doesn't seem like a great look for a movement shooter, but they are casual lobbies. I did not really see this in the Faceit games that I played on the client version that they're trying to get everyone to download for it to be a competitive game. So I don't know whether Krunker is succeeding at being a competitive game. I would definitely say that experience was much more fun than the browser experience, where you just go on and people may be really, really bad, where you have the experience I had 3 or 4 years ago where you're just shitting on everybody, or they're really, really good either because they're hacking or they're just way better. I will say that the movement mechanics are very interesting. I don't really like shooters where people kind of like dash around and jump around and fly around, but that is definitely this game. So if you're into that, if you're into kind of movement skill, I think that is the main draw of Krunker. If you're into that kind of Quake style, or I guess COD Modern Warfare 2019 style, focus on movement and aggressively strafing and bunny hopping around, then this is definitely the shooter for you. I think it's worth a shot. But I will say that the fact that it is on a browser, while it does probably increase the player base a lot and is a huge draw, I also feel like that aspect is holding it back. But yeah, I do recommend at least trying it. Who knows, you might like it, and who knows, you might want to spend thousands of hours climbing to the top of the ladder in competitive Krunker. Yeah, it's not the game for me, but I do still recommend trying it. Okay, that about wraps it up for this video. Thanks for watching.